The end of the season is coming and coming soon for the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. It's round 13 tonight at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Welcome to SimTV. My name is Kyle Heyer. I'm joined by Finian D'Acuna for the 13th round of the season. Finian, this racetrack, as we saw last night, the DC Region SCCA race, is a challenging 11-turn, 2.2-mile road course. It kind of lends itself to kind of dive bomb passes and high downforce corners, but the IndyCar night with just under 20 drivers is going to be an extreme challenge, especially with cool weather. It means it's going to be quite fast out there.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fast track, and we're going to see these guys put some blistering lap times around. It's just really fun to see these cars go around this course because they're going full beans through a lot of these downforce corners at a really high rate of speed, and it's such a fine line too at this track between going off the track and being on it.
Tonight's race is 57 laps, but here's a look at your track configuration. 2.218 miles, 11 corners around here. Of course, at the top there, right after that blue sector line, you see the famous corkscrew fitting, a several-story drop down a hill over a crest. It's a blind corner, it's a slow corner, but it's also one of the better passing opportunities around here.
Yeah, that's really where we're going to see. I mean, we say it's a passing opportunity. It's a really hard place to pass, especially in the IndyCar. You can definitely do it in MX-5 without much worry. But these things, again, these cars are very sensitive to damage and also fairly big, much bigger than the MX-5. So it's going to be a tricky place to pass, but definitely one of those opportunities you can see. And even another one, too, down here at turn 5.
If you're just joining us, make sure you stick around all the way to the end of this broadcast, because at the tail end of it, we're going to announce the 2020 Fuel Premier Series schedule with the Xfinity car. So stick around, make sure you catch that. It's going to be a fun little event at the tail end of this broadcast. Meanwhile, qualifying underway for tonight's 57-lap event. 19 drivers scheduled to run this one tonight. Danny Roberts working his way down through the corkscrew in his Ferrari. And Danny Roberts has not really had the season that we would have expected him to have based on his past success in the series, but potentially a race-winning car tonight. He's pretty talented all the way around, but he's going to have to beat the points leader. Let's take a quick look at our points. John Poole leads Kyten Bommersbach by 20 points. There's another 108 all back to Stephen Larkamp from there, 36 back to Thompson, another 46 back to Rodrigo Munoz. So we take a look at the points battle, Fanny, and really it's between Poole and Bommersbach that I really think have a legitimate chance, but don't make a mistake because Larkamp's right there if either of those two mess up these next couple weeks.
Yeah, Larkamp, he's still, again, mathematically, well, fairly within range of catching these guys if both of them wreck out. So he's definitely able to catch up, but he's going to need to pretty much almost win both the races to make up that many points.
So working his way around through turns 3 and 4 right now, and about 6 minutes left in qualifying. The drivers that we'd expect to be good tonight, Finney, and I'm looking at one right now, Mitch Welker in this number 1. Running the road courses primarily this season, and Finian been denied victory far too many times. Is tonight his night finally?
I mean, if he doesn't make any mistakes or has anything wrong happen to him, we saw that he's been so close to victory only to just have it snatched out of his hands due to either, not having enough fuel in the tank, wrong strategy, or just getting involved in a wreck. So hopefully he can is able to keep it going straight and keep it proper. He can finally get that win.
That was a picture-perfect line through the corkscrew. It looks like he's got this kind of figured out here as he rolls through turns 9 and 10 and sets up for 11. This is one of the better passing opportunities here as well. A very slow first, maybe second gear corner as he throttle back up onto the straightaway, and Welker is going to come out of turn 11, cross the start-finish line. We'll see if he improves on his 107.9, and it looks like he will. A 107.825, that's going to do it for him. Byron Daly in the 06, always a threat on road courses, was a winner at Barber Motorsports Park last season, late in the season. He comes across the line 5th quick for him. Liam Quinn in the 24, I believe he ran the Indy Elite Series race right here a few months ago. Ended up having a pretty decent race if I recall correctly there. So he works his way down to start his lap. We'll ride on board. You see all the wing settings on this car. Oops, slipping a slide through turn 3, and Quinn goes around for a loop, so won't be a lap time this time.
No, he didn't actually start that.
Oh, I thought he did.
I thought he did too.
So I'm thinking, got my dates mixed up, but Liam Quinn goes around in turn number 3, so gonna maybe try again in a couple minutes. Jason Brophy in the 44. He's made it tonight. Cade McKee in the 26. Not a name I recall seeing a whole lot this season. Making a late start. Travis McQuistion in the 93 hasn't gone out to make a lap yet, but Mitch Welker still out making some practice laps, just trying to figure this car out here and kind of see what the conditions are like. Let's take a look at our weather tonight. 78 in the air, 112, and 112 track temp here is actually pretty cool. considering it's California and the sun beats down. You can tell the grass has had enough of the temperature lately, but I think the track will be relatively grippy tonight. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of multi-car accidents. I think this is going to spread out quite a bit and should lead to a pretty straightforward clean and green race. Johnny Martin in the 12. He's 11th on board right now with a 1:15.645. Hasn't really had much of a lap yet.
Already has damage to the left front of his wing. You'll see here when he comes to the front there, you can see that wing's got some damage to it, probably hitting a curb, especially the red anti-cut curbs. You can definitely ding up your wing, especially coming through this turn 6 on the uphill. Very easy to ride over that curb.
Oh yeah, he ran a little bit wide through the middle of that corner to avoid that curve. Actually, let's take a look in slow motion at what you were just talking about here, Phineas. So you're coming up underneath the Mother's Polished Bridge, and what you're going to see here on the left through turn 6 is this big red anti-cut curb, and you mentioned it. How difficult is it to sling a car through here in third, maybe fourth gear? Look how much distance Johnny Martin gave it just so he wouldn't run into it.
Yeah, you can see that hesitation too, and that hesitation made him pretty much miss his line entirely.
Another thing to keep an eye on, this was an issue last night in the Washington, D.C. region race. All the dirt that lines the racetrack, that will cause you to lose grip. And last night, the Miatas especially are having a really difficult time over the dirt patches. So if cars go off, you're going to want to avoid the dirt and gravel that they drag back onto the course, because it's especially bad here considering there's pretty much no runoff to speak of. So if you go off, you're going to be dragging dirt and gravel back on. Only 11 cars have put in times. Jason Brophy is up to speed. I think he's on a run right now.
Should have enough time to make 2 laps in.
Onto the brakes for turn 11, going to throttle back up. I don't know if he's on a flyer right now, but I think he's on an outlap at the moment. Comes across the line, and yeah, it's an outlap of 147, so yes. Coming out of the pits and down into turn 1, we're right on board here.
A bunch of sand all over the track in turn 1. I think very similar story in turn 2 when I was looking here. Yeah, you can see right there all in the apex.
You see how much gravel he got under the tires when he dipped off the edge of the curb. And he's going to go off again. That'll be an off track. See all that gravel they drag back on. This is going to be a big discussion tonight. And he's going to have to gear up for one more lap. But I don't know, is he going to get it, Finney? And it's going to be pretty close. Oh, he should.
Yeah, he should get to the line with about 20
down.
seconds-ish. 10 seconds.
It wouldn't be lingering if I was him, though. Down into the corkscrew. 3-story drop there. And then through turns 8 and 9, and then setting up for 10. And turn 10, I find, is a very challenging corner to go through fast. Really a one-line corner. You make a mistake there, and you're going to go way wide. It's a very finicky corner. You see the brakes glowing on the nose of that car. Throttling back up, and he will get another chance at a lap. Again, only 11 drivers have qualified. Let's see if Jason Brophy can put in a legal lap time this time through. Mitchell Welker still on pole, as he was at Montreal. I don't know if he won pole at Watkins. I don't remember. I don't think he did. You can check that for me. But Welker's been qualifying extremely well. Oh, there goes Brophy again. He's off.
And that's going to end qualifying for him.
It's going to end qualifying for pretty much everybody. And take a look at your starting lineup, because it's right there on the left-hand side of the screen. It'll be Mitch Welker at the top of the board in the number 1 Project 2 car. And no Zach Buchanan tonight. And no Tim Johnston either. So it looks like the only Project 2 machine that's out there will be the one of Welker. With a 107.825, the only driver to dip into the 107s. And at the tail end of the field, McQuistion, Jones, McKee, Brophy, Adams, Sheen, Bommersbach, and Quinn did not get time to put a lap in, so they will start from the tail of the field tonight. Remember, stick around to the end of this race and the end of the broadcast to catch the Fuel Premier Series schedule for 2020. We'll start up here in a couple months. It'll be right here on SimTV on Tuesday nights, and you're going to want to make sure you stick around to catch where they're visiting next season, because I promise you it is a very fun schedule. So, qualifying complete. Let's head it out to the racetrack here in just a moment to roll through our starting lineup and to get the field gridded and ready to go racing tonight for 57 laps. 126.4 miles here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. And again, track conditions pretty good today for a race. We'll head down to the racetrack. Here is a look at your starting lineup. On the front row to be Mitch Welker, the driver of the number 1 Project 2 machine, starts on the front row right alongside Riley Thompson, the winner from Montreal, Sergio Gilles Villeneuve. couple weeks ago.
Yeah, now even to Welker, this is the second pole of the season, did start on pole. How Welkin's going. We're going back to row 2. Stephen Larkin will be starting in third, and the 31, not set him. In the 41, Danny Roberts in fourth.
In fifth place, the points leader by 20 points over Kite Bommersbach. That's John Poole, the number 23. He's won a couple times this season, going to try to do it again. Byron Daly, past road course winner here in the series. He rolls off 6th.
Rodrigo Munoz will be starting back in 7th place in the 09 car. Not set him will be Cohen Evans in the 17 from Texas, starting in 8th.
In 9th, Cristobal Valenzuela. He's going to be starting in 9th in the number 3 car, and Mike Hurley in the 33 starts in 10th on the outside of row 5.
Back in row 6, we got Johnny Martin in the 12 car from Indiana, and outside of him, Liam Quinn in the 24 will be starting in 12th.
In row number 7, starting in 13th, Kite Bommersbach, second in the standings, has some work to do tonight, about halfway through the field, and there's Cade McKee in the 26 from Texas. He rolls off 14th tonight.
Back in 15, you got Jason Brophy in the 44. Unfortunately, couldn't get a qualifying time down. He's going to be starting in the back of the field. Outside of him will be Brent Jones in the 89 from Michigan.
And in 17th, Travis McQuistion in the number 93, and Evan Adams in 18th in his number 59, the Illinoisan, will be rolling off on the outside of row number 9. And there was one more row of cars, I think, at the tail end. Oh, that might have been it. It might have been one more.
I think John Poole. I don't know.
John Poole is up in 11th as the field rolls off to begin their pace lap again. 126 miles tonight. Take a look down at turn number 1 here, Finney. Kind of a double apex corner through turns 1 and 2. Track widens out here a little bit. That's concrete off to driver's right. You see that patch there by the 2, 3, and 4 markers. Now, you can dip your right side tires out there to get yourself a better turn in, but we saw last night the Washington, D.C. region SCCA race that this was a trouble spot in the initial start. I think it might be tonight if people get a little bit greedy on cold tires.
I think it's Liam Sheen.
Thank you. It was Liam Sheen, all the way back in his number 52, starting at the tail of the field. Up at the front, Welker and Thompson, these two drivers, very good at the road courses. Thompson has won this season, but Mitch Welker has not, but that is not for lack of pace. And we talk about it every single time we come to a right and left-hand turn racetrack, that one car is a threat to win, but he's just got to keep it together. And tonight, I think the big thing for Welker to watch out for is don't hit the curbs. Don't get those right-handed gut curbs, because you can be leading this race by 20 seconds. You knock your wing off, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, especially if you don't have a pit stop coming up to you and you're going to make an extra trip down pit road. That you're not going to want to make, because it's definitely going to cost you a lot of time. Look at Byron Daly, he's going to be starting in 6th place.
Evan Adams starting towards the tail of the field again. We'll see if he shows some promise and hope tonight. He'll be rolling off towards the tail of the grid. Stephen Larkamp again, kind of on the outside looking in the points picture, but still very well in it should things go his way. But the time is running out, so he's going to have 2 really good weeks.
And that's, again, he not only has to have 2 really good weeks, he's also got to hope that Poole and Bommersbach both run into trouble, which can happen. Anything can happen in a motor race. But he's just going to have to kind of hope that that kind of stars kind of align for his situation.
Field heads down the corkscrew. The next time they're going to see it, it'll be at race pace. It's Mitch Welker out up front in the number 1 Project 2 Air Canada machine. Long way from Canada here today. Pace car is going to peel off here in just a moment. We'll do a little sidestep off the course. And coming through turn number 11. 2 road course aces here in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. Green flag flies and we're racing at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Back in the field, a little bit of confusion as one of the drivers dropped out of that. Welker leads everybody down to turn 1, slips and slides on the cold tires, and here comes Larkamp to the inside, tries to take a look, and Welker's going to cut him off as he heads to the outside lane. Riley Thompson slips to 3rd in the early moments.
He's trying to hold off Danny Roberts sitting back and forth. Looks like they're going to sort themselves out single file first few rows as they go through the first few turns down to turn 5.
Yeah, it's Brent Jones that got out of that mix there at the start of the race and dropped towards the tail. Field works their way up to turn 6, a high-speed left-hander. Stay off the curbs. Everyone so far has done a good job of that. There's Liam Quinn in the number 24. And so far, so good as we head up to the corkscrew for the first time.
They're doing a great job getting through there okay.
Oh, Travis McQuistion's off course. I don't know if he's had an issue or not. It looks like he has, and here's a look at what happened to the 93. Does he turn in too early and catch this curve? He's going to throttle up on exit, and big hit for McQuistion. That'll be the end of his night early.
First driver of the night. Going to be that 93.
Mitch Welker leads the way. Larkamp in 2nd, and Larkamp's pretty quick right now and ran almost as quick as Welker, so maybe this 31 could be in the mix tonight. Valenzuela dropping down through the grid here. He's going to be fighting Liam Quinn. The Quinn's a little bit wide on exit. Drops the wheels in the dirt, but pulls it back on course.
Still side by side. The three going to try to shoot around the outside, pinch Liam Quinn to the apex, but it looks like Quinn's going to win that fight.
Right, Bommersbach in the number 37. Remember, walked into tonight 20 points behind John Poole. Poole runs in 6th. Bommersbach runs in 11th right now, so some work to do. He's just got to outperform Poole and get himself in this picture for the championship fight. So 11th, and actually last week, or the last time we raced, he made up a big deficit in the closing moments. He was going to lose a lot of points. Didn't end up being the case. Riley Thompson all over Larkamp for 2nd, though.
He's trying to get that spot back, lost it on the initial start. You can see Welker already starting to pull away from Larkamp, so Thompson looking to be the faster of the two right now, just having trouble finding a place to pass. You see him go on the front straightaway here. Does he use push to pass?
Yeah, much better run through turn 11. He's going to dip out to the left, and it looks like Larkamp will give him the space. Maybe too early to fight this, but Welker has a 1-second lead now as Thompson heads down the inside, and I think Larkamp's just going to let him have it for now.
There goes Thompson on into 2nd place. We'll see if he can catch back up to Welker.
Danny Roberts runs 4th. Byron Daly in 5th. Now Brent Jones in the 89, tumbling in the corkscrew, and dropped out of the field early to avoid issues, and just locked up the brakes and just went straight off, and wow. And just tumbled over. And it looks like Evan Adams has also had an issue. And he's down, I think this is in turn 1.
And another one gone. Another one gone. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, he just lost the grip on the brakes.
And even Mike Hurley's due run into some trouble. So a lot of cars running into trouble early.
Yeah, you see there's Brent Jones in the pits as well. Larkamp is around.
Oh, in the corkscrew as well.
Oh! Pulls on course right in front of Liam Quinn. And there's another car sideways. I think that was Cade McKee in the 26. But Larkamp from up in the front of the field drops to the rear. Now what has happened here? Just on the brakes too hard, and the throttle's up, and the car's light and just kind of swings over. And that's what spun the 31 around. And he's going to rejoin, and watch this. Wow, great job. We've got to watch from on board the 24, Liam Quinn, as he comes over the top of the hill. This is incredible here.
Yeah, this is blind. He has no idea where Larkamp is. The last second does a great job getting on the brakes downhill.
That was a very impressive job of wreck avoidance there. That could have been a whole lot worse for both these cars. Meanwhile, up front, Mitch Welker ran a 108.959, but last time through, Thompson ran a 108.640, a 3/10 difference in the favor of the 56, the Montreal winner from Sergio Villeneuve. So I think Riley Thompson's a little bit better than Welker right now.
It'll be interesting to see here if Welker can turn up the pace and go further. If he's just kind of holding back at the moment. They definitely know he has the pace. There's a lap car, or a car that was
Jason Brophy potentially. He's gone around somewhere else, and I don't know what that deal was, but Mitch Welker continues to lead. I don't know who was off there in the corkscrew, but somebody was sitting up there.
Well, someone went a lap down, obviously. So
it could only be Mike Hurley. Yeah,
oh,
I guess it was. He's there for a little. Oh, he's been there for a while. I think he saw the leaders coming, and same thing that happened to Larkamp, just throttle up, and wow, look at how that thing digs. It just drives over into the wall. So Hurley already having issues. He's going to come in and get that car serviced. Might be able to repair that car. So Welker, Thompson, Roberts, and Daly are top 4. Then John Poole rides 5th. Closest battle right now is for the lead. For 7th, Munoz and Quinn are getting pretty tight, but we'll take you there if there's a pass shaping up.
Thompson still closing consistently on Welker every single lap. Now I'm curious if he's just going to sit in behind the one or if he's going to try to make a pass on him early.
Yeah, both those cars dip the wheels off at the exit at turn 6, and Welker is now going to head down into the corkscrew. A little bit of a bobble on the brakes there, so he's driving pretty hard right now, Finney. Now, if you're Mitch Welker, do you drive hard now? Is this the time to push, or do you think you should kind of wait and see where things kind of end up?
I think it's a long race. We still got over 50 laps left to go in the race, so, you know, don't push now. Don't force yourself into a mistake, because we definitely seen a lot of that happen. If you're not paying attention, by pushing so hard, you can really end up getting into a mistake, and that could cost you your race very early on.
Fights for first and fights for third. Welker and Thompson, Roberts and Daly. And even behind them, there was more cars fighting. It was Cohen Evans that was about to catch John Poole, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. And this is looking very similar right now to the Charlotte Roval, which was towards the early part of the season. And at the Roval, Welker was one of the drivers that was running really well and ended up crashing out there. And Riley Thompson ended up just missing out on a victory there. So both those drivers looking for a bit of redemption from that race in particular. Liam Sheen, I think, has gone off, and he has had an issue. And I don't know how recent this was. He's been damaged probably since, I'm going to take a bet. That's the corkscrew, but I guessed wrong. This is actually coming out of the final corner. He's going to get in the dirt, throttle up, and spin straight into the concrete.
Oh, yeah.
One of the very few places on this racetrack that there's a concrete wall to get you, and it's not very far from the racetrack. So while this has been going on, Denny Roberts and Byron Daly have slowly started to sneak into this fight for the lead yet again. So this time by, what's Welker going to run? It's a 108.628. Thompson pretty much matches him. And then behind him, 5/10 quicker was Danny Roberts. That 41, the quickest car on the racetrack last time by.
Yeah, impressively so. And Daly was more on pace with the leaders as well. So he was 4/10 of a second faster than the three guys around him. Pretty much your top four that have broken away from the rest of the field are all in the picture there. So these are your leaders and pretty much the guys I would expect to be in the front.
Yeah, pretty much exactly. I think John Poole is about 5 seconds back. Not necessarily a road course ace, just looking to protect, but Mitch Welker's got to protect now as Riley Thompson's all over that rear wing as they head into turn 6. Maybe the aero wash is something Thompson's got to watch out for to see him drop off course in turn 6.
Yeah, I was going to say, it really looks like he's gotten too close to Welker. And I mean, obviously, if you're going to pass, you want to be as close as you can be. If you're just planning on riding out, you might want to back it up a little bit. You see, he's been backed up all the way back towards Danny Roberts.
Yeah, so the big discussion at Gateway the last time we were racing was the aero wash there. You couldn't make a pass when you got close to somebody. It's going to be a problem here tonight as well. So you're going to have to outbrake somebody. You cannot follow them through a corner. It'll just be disastrous for you. It slowed Riley Thompson down a whole bunch and brought Danny Roberts right into this mix for this lead. And Thompson's way better on the brakes. See them glowing quite a bit, so he's leaning on them too. Swing back to the right as he exits turn 3. Kai Bommersbach and Valenzuela also fighting, and Bommersbach is slowly creeping his way forward, started 13th up to 9th, and if Gateway was anything to go by, he's really good at this, salvaging days that otherwise would not have been good, but I can't say that this 37's really in championship winning form the last couple weeks.
No, yeah, he's really going to, I think, have to play a strategy card or something to make up some time on John Poole, who's about 7 seconds up the road from Bommersbach. So he's got a little ways to go and got a lot of laps to go to try to improve his position.
Yeah, a bit of a clumsy run through turn 5 that time as well. Behind him, Stephen Larkamp, remember he started 3rd, looped around in the corkscrew. He's got some nose damage on that car. I'm not sure if that was from that spin through the corkscrew, but that's certainly not going to be very fast, so he's going to have to repair that at some point.
You ran a 1 minute 10.4 last time through.
About a second off what the leaders are running, and he was up there with them earlier, so that's about how much it's affecting him. Down into 1. Whoa! Bobble on the brakes for Thompson. He had to save it. I think he's really pushing the braking pressure right now, and it's helping him, but it could hurt him really easily if he steps over that threshold.
Yeah, I think that's another thing he's got to watch out for, especially the fact, too, if he makes a mistake, Roberts and Daly are so close they can easily pick him off and put himself back, and then now put Thompson back into 4th place. He's got to be careful not to make a mistake.
Working his way through turn 5 now, trailing Mitch Welker. Roberts is in there as well. So now we're starting to see about a half a second gap forming. Is this aero wash or is this just how it's going to race tonight?
I think it's a little bit of aero wash. You definitely can drop that down. It's not kind of like how it is in oval where it's almost next to impossible to overcome. You definitely can bring that gap down in certain parts of the track and make a pass. But again, I think Thompson is more looking at just kind of riding this out, at least until the first pit stop sequence.
Top 4 all in one frame. Only 1.6 separate them. And I think that's Mike Hurley that is just up the road from these drivers, and they're about to put him a second lap down. So far, 4 retirements in the early going. There are 13 cars in the lead lap. 2 of them are a lap down, 14th and 15th, Johnny Martin and Mike Hurley. 10 laps into the race here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Welker leads by 7/10 of a second. Then it's Thompson, Roberts, Byron Daly, and John Poole, your top 5. And Cohen Evans starting to push a little bit of pressure on the points leader.
See if Evans can get on by. Looking at the last time through, Evans was 10th slower. But he has been chasing down John Poole here, so he's kind of getting to that range where he's getting to the aero wash, being half a second behind. And really overcoming that's really the tough thing to do. We'll see if Evans is able to overcome it. And for Poole, I imagine he's going to fight tooth and nail for this spot because every point counts now. It's a better buffer between him and Bommersbach.
I think Cade McKee has had an issue. in the number 26. He's pulled off course. He was running in the 13th spot, and it looks like he might have just pulled off the racetrack. I don't think...
He has some wing damage, but other than that, the car's pretty much fine.
Yeah, just pulled it in and called it quits, I think. So for the 26 car, that will be night over. Up at the front, still very much in contention, is Riley Thompson. He has not let Welker get away. I think Riley Thompson is faster. Do you want to know how I think that? Because he just ran his fastest lap of the race, a 1:08.553. And it's not quite as quick as Welker's quickest lap, which he also just ran recently. But both these guys are very, very fast right now and putting on a good show.
Yeah, they're starting to pull away just a little bit from Roberts and Daly in behind him. So the gap's starting to separate back out between second and third.
I will say that Welker's internet connection doesn't look great tonight, so I'm just hoping that that's not the thing that takes him out. The hardware is not what you want to have go wrong, especially after the season that Welker has had. Thompson was pushing on the brakes down into turn 1. I think he's backed off of that, and he's lost a bit of ground. Maybe he had a bit of a scare. You see Johnny Martin has gone around. This is in turn 3. And was throttling up and heading down into the next corner, and maybe does he dip a wheel off, or just drives in a little bit hard, and just a slight throttle up and goes for a loop. You see the dirt he dragged back on, thankfully out of the racing line. That, however, is right on the racing line. Riley Thompson has had an issue. Back to 4th.
That's what I was talking about. If you made a mistake, he actually significantly dropped back 7.5 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so while we were watching the other replay of Johnny Martin spinning, Riley Thompson went into turn 11, and what you're going to see here, he jumps on the brakes, tries to throttle up, and right here, same thing Liam Sheen did. This time, though, he kept it off the wall, so no damage, just lost a lot of track position. That could be vital space for Mitch Welker. Again, really no chance of a full course caution, so all Welker's got to do is maintain a 7.2 second gap over Riley Thompson, who I feel is probably a little bit better than Welker right now. I don't think Roberts and Daly are faster, though, but we'll see how it plans out.
Yeah, well, now Thompson has no choice but to push now. Get on the loud pedal and try to catch back up to Welker.
Yeah, still obviously potential to play some pit strategy, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of strategy tonight. I don't think we'll delve into a fuel mileage race like the last couple road races have, because they had full course yellows at the beginning of them. But now, really, the question is, who runs better laps now? Is it Welker out front in the clean air, or Roberts and Daly, who are chasing that time by? It was, wow, Danny Roberts by 0.4 of a second.
And Roberts, I think, probably starting to catch up. Also, probably realizing he could push a little bit more to kind of close that gap back to Welker. Here we see some guys beating banging.
Yeah, this is Larkamp and Munoz for 10th spot, and Larkamp going on by the 09.
Both these guys with damaged wings.
I will say that Munoz has had a remarkably good season. I think he sits like 5th in the standings. Yeah, 5th in the point standings. And he's been sneaking his way up into these race finishes. I haven't really talked about him a whole lot, but he's consistently running well at the ends of these events, and which has put him in a great spot in the points, I must say. Especially if you're beating guys like Cohen Evans, who have been race winners here in this series in the past. John Poole has been holding off Cohen Evans, but it looks like passing has been challenging tonight because Cohen Evans has been here for quite some time now.
See him go through the corkscrew, and then Poole's done a really good job keeping Evans in behind. Also, just a little bit further back from both these guys is Liam Quinn sitting in 7th place.
Yeah, that's that purple and white car in the background. And Quinn narrowly avoiding contact with Larkamp earlier in the night, and because of that, he's still running inside the top 10. Hasn't had to deal with any sort of damage or anything of that kind, as Valenzuela now has Rodrigo Munoz to worry about.
I'm not sure what happened to the 3 of Valenzuela, but something seems to be wrong with that car, and I say that because he just got past that car with half a wing and a damaged wing, or he's about to get past that car with a damaged wing.
We'll say that the road courses. Oh, there were some cones.
Someone was naughty.
Yeah. And the problem is this is going to get stuck. Well, it just got ejected, so he'll be all right. But of course, cones are not fun. I'm going to take a guess at who that was. Johnny Martin might have been in the pit, so I don't know if he. Oh, it was him. Here's a look. Johnny Martin going to get ticket later from the Highway Patrol for knocking over some cones here at pit out. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think he damaged his own wing doing that. So
I didn't realize they can do that.
Oh, yeah, they can severely damage your car. Jason Brophy, he's had an issue.
He's definitely hit more than a cone.
Yeah, I think he's had an issue, and this is heading up into the corkscrew. And And so, ooh, that's a weird spot to crash on entry. Got the curb on the right.
Yeah, cut the curb under braking. Lost traction under braking, and the car went to the right, so that's gonna really hurt his car.
Baja race isn't for a little longer there, Jason, so he'll have to try that again. Meanwhile, up in front, Mitch Welker has led majority of the laps that we've run so far. Danny Roberts and Byron Daly second and third. They're lapping a little bit quicker, but they're just not able to get to Welker and do anything with him. So I think this is Welker's race to lose right now. And Riley Thompson, he's been running blistering laps. He just ran a 107.888, which is the quickest lap of anybody in this race by almost a second. So he's flying, and he's made up almost 2 seconds on Welker since he spun out. But again, catching him is one thing, passing is a whole other thing. So still a lot of work left to do tonight.
I think really the best thing for Thompson to do is just, again, get off strategy, pass him in the pits. It'll be your easiest way to pass.
On the brakes and throttling back up. I wonder what the lap times will be this time. So Welker just ran a 108.872, a 108.253 for Thompson. He is still the quickest car on track by a fairly significant margin. And he has chopped the gap down to 5.8 seconds between him and Welker, who continues to lead by 0.8 over Danny Roberts. And no other close battles at the moment, with the exception of Cohen Evans and Kite Bommersbach. And again, Bommersbach, his climb tonight has been slow, but it has been steady. If he can get himself in the top 5, or really, if he can get up any more spots than this, he'll be in pretty good shape to at least maintain the points gap to Poole.
Here's what happened to Evans. Oh, something did happen to him. He ran a minute 11 last lap through.
Maybe could have gotten a slowdown or a cut course or something of the sort.
Because he was running in front of John Poole. Or sorry, he was trying to pass John Poole.
Right, so Liam Quinn has gotten around Cohen Evans. And Mitch Welker dropping off the scoring monitor here for a moment. I'm not sure if that... No, he's back.
And actually looking at it too, Bommersbach's actually catching up to John Poole. So 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th are all running pretty close together.
A couple seconds apart here. It looks like Valenzuela and Larkamp trading spots again. Whoa! And they're going to trade once again, and Larkamp has to take the long way around and behind. You see the teammates almost getting together. And he sailed off into the corkscrew and wasn't able to make that stick. Here's a look in slow motion as they come over the rise here. Valenzuela just way deep on the brakes, going to lock the rears and just whoops. You see Larkamp had to go wide, and this is a violent ride for the floor of these very aero-dependent IndyCars, so I can't imagine that was helpful to the current status.
Munoz got some damage, and as well as Valenzuela.
Yeah, so they're all going to hit pit lane now and service their machines, get some new wings on these cars. Which Welker has been caught by... Oh, damage! I'm going to take a guess where that came from here, Finian. Turn 6.
Yeah.
So quickly, before he gets passed, because with all that damage, I'm going to take a guess that this was the turn 6 inside curb, and here's a look. Mitch Welker has hit... looks like he has hit pit lane. Yeah, big curb jump there. So he has hit pit lane to fix this. This is a great call because he's not going to lose any time on the racetrack other than what he's already lost. So a big curb hit for Welker. And this is, I said earlier on the pace lap that this is going to be his Achilles heel tonight, is just staying clean all the way through the race. And if he did it on lap 18, you're probably going to do it again at some point. It's just hard not to hit those curves.
Well, I imagine with the amount of laps we have, I imagine this is going to be a 2-stop race. So this is kind of close to where he would want to come in.
I think it is going to work out for him anyway.
Yeah, so.
I don't think tires are going to be worth anything tonight. No. It's just all based on fuel and how your car has been running and if you have any damage to repair. So Danny Roberts inherits the lead, Byron Daly up to second, and this is an opportunity for them to lay down some haymakers, go run some fast laps without that car out in front, especially for that 41. Some lap traffic up ahead though, so you have to kind of weigh the pros versus cons here, running in traffic.
And this is where I would, if I was the leader, I would just come to the pits. Whoa.
Now it got a little dicey there. Whoa!
Got even more dicey.
Yeah, Johnny Martin trying to stay out of the way, but an awkward spot there.
This guy's going to continue on, however.
Taking a look at the drivers that have come down. All the drivers with anything less than a 18 next to them have visited pit lane already. You see Welker, the highest running of the cars that have made a pit stop so far, so he should re-inherit this lead if everything goes to plan here. How long does changing a front wing usually take, man?
5 seconds.
So not very much. It might be enough to change over the lead, though, if Danny Roberts doesn't have to worry about any kind of damage.
Yeah, the thing I'm concerned with Welker is the fact that everyone else behind him was running faster than him. So, you know, even put him back in clean air. He might be able to push a little bit harder than these guys. Got some fresher tires, but these guys got relatively clean air. Obviously, they're dealing with some lap traffic at the moment, but they got clean air to deal with without Welker in front.
John Poole, Liam Quinn fighting for fourth right now in 23. Who's the points leader is running fourth. Liam Quinn is in fifth. Chasing each other up to the course strip.
Johnny Martin right in front of him. He could be a factor in this
Big
battle,
lockup, and John Poole really had to jump on the binders to avoid running wide there and had the left front entirely locked, and Quinn's going to run a touch wide. And Poole's also off course.
He'll get back on before Quinn can do anything to him. The order will remain the same. Looking on back behind these guys, Cohen Evans and Kyle Bommersbach, they're continuing their battle shortly in behind. So close for the championship between these two. There you can see Poole and Quinn go off in the corner.
Of course, the last road course of the season as well, so for the drivers that excel better at the road courses, this might be their last opportunity to get a race win. For Bommersbach and Poole, I don't think they're going to miss the road courses. They really have not been great for either one of them this season. Probably a little bit better for Poole than for Bommersbach. I think Kite's been a little bit better at the ovals so far this season. Although Poole dropping off the scoring monitor for a second, so he's also got a slightly unstable connection tonight, which worries me slightly. A lot of drivers listed as out on the tower ticker there on the left.
Yeah, a lot of attrition in this race. We only got 12 cars running.
Not a huge surprise. I mean, road courses have been very challenging this season. Danny Roberts still leading this race. Mitch Welker just ran his fastest lap of the night, a 1:08.273. And Riley Thompson, who's third, has slowed it down quite a bit. I think he pushed really hard in the middle of that run to make up for his spin, and has kind of given up a little bit in terms of just kind of falling off with time.
Granted, he has made up quite a bit of time. He's only 3 seconds behind now, so recovered quite a bit from that spin. I'm curious, these guys are going to try to stretch it to halfway.
Which would be about lap 27 or 28. So, whoa, no, the leader spins with Hurley.
Spinning.
And right back into traffic. The 41 will turn back rolling, and he's going to lose a bunch of spots and, more importantly, track position. And he was closing in on the 33 of Mike Hurley. I think he just jumped on the brakes to kind of not run into him here. Yeah, just a slight lift kind of mid-corner just unsettled that car. That was all it took. No damage, he'll continue, but second time we've seen a leader have trouble, and he's going to head straight to pit lane. Good call.
Got some fresh tires. This tire's going to be really hot after spinning out like that.
Byron Daly has taken over the lead from 6th to 1st here, and this is the first lap that he's led tonight. His best lap of 1:08.1, which is the second quickest lap of anyone tonight. Riley Thompson, you see right behind, 1.2 seconds back. Denny Roberts on pit lane. I think most of the drivers have come down to pit road by this point. The only drivers that have not, Munoz and the top three, Daly, Thompson, and Poole.
So, based off of that, I met these guys.
Oh, no! Great save there. That was a wild one. You see the damage on the
I can
left
see someone
front.
Who's probably going to come down, yeah.
And then there were two. Yeah, that was a wild slide, and it was impressive that he was able to actually hang on to that with how crazy turn 6 can be. Again, that's really one of the high load, high downforce corners, and if you make a mistake, really the problem is that if you miss the turn in, Thompson's going to stay out. Interesting.
Wonder if he actually... No, he should be able
He just ran his fastest lap last time by, so maybe he feels confident that he's making up time. That wing's not going to help. But again, turn 6 is one of those corners that if you don't turn in early enough, you're going to go wide. If you turn in too early, you slam the wing against that curb, and you can break suspension in some of the more fragile cars. So it's I think one of the more challenging corners on the racetrack. One of the higher risk corners for sure. Byron Daly leads this race. The only one of the front runners that has not really had a major issue tonight. John Poole hits pit lane at his number 23, so he'll give up third spot as Mitch Welker goes on by. And Welker has already pit, so the only two drivers that have yet to come in, Daly and Thompson.
Oh yeah, and Riley Thompson actually ahead of Welker by about a second. Oh,
yeah, well, yeah, that's not correct. It's 32 seconds. And Thompson has not made his pit stop yet. But the pit delta's about 30 seconds, so it'll be pretty dicey here. he'll stay out, still chasing Byron Daly.
It seems feeling the car's good enough. I mean, running on pace with Daly.
Yeah, and that was including his mistake last lap, so let's see what he's running this time. His best is a 107.868, just ran a 108.3, so not too far off.
My only concern is that, you know, we definitely know he's faster, and he also has a damaged wing. But now he's also going to be stuck behind Daly, so I'm kind of curious as to why he hasn't decided to pit, get himself back on
you go another 4 laps, you're good to the end.
I was thinking if they can make 4 laps.
Yeah, I don't know if they can do that. We would have seen more drivers probably try it if it was close enough. This is the battle for the lead. Daly in the orange and white car, Riley Thompson in the red, silver, and black car. I guess it's white, isn't it? I was hoping that this would be one of the cars that we'd see with the new spec map feature.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would look gorgeous with that. In time, I'm sure we'll see that.
Probably for the next season.
Down the hill. I know the Spark VR cars in Indy Elite were working on a metallic scheme.
That's gonna be nice.
Here comes Byron Daly. Will Thompson follow him? Yes, he will. And he's going to gain a bunch of time and right on his rear wing as they come on through. So now the question, where's Welker? Through turn 6. If all goes Welker's way, he should pop out in front of these drivers. But again, the 5-second, essentially a penalty for having to replace that wing. Did he make up enough time to overcome that? We'll see.
The thing is, too, is that you cannot not replace that wing. You have to take it. They're gonna Sim's gonna force you to fix that.
So on the bottom left, you're gonna see the track map, and it looks like the 06 of Byron Daly is rolling. And Mitch Welker is approaching quickly on the straightaway. But I think Byron Daly, here comes Thompson as well. I think Welker is going to beat them out. Oh, it's going to be real tight as he comes on through.
I don't think he is. I think he's going to end up behind him.
Oh, he is. Long way around. And yes, they have gotten out in front of him. But he has closed that gap. Remember, he had a 5-second pit road penalty. He should be farther back than this.
And actually, even Thompson, too. Just came out right behind. He should have been further on back.
Yeah, well, Thompson gained a ton of time through all this because he's been running faster than everybody else. Danny Roberts way out of this fight. He's about 6 seconds back from the leader, which is now Byron Daly.
Pull up the thing. Just put 2 pit stop times. Both had long stops.
So closing in on the halfway point of this race. They'll be at lap number 28. And so everyone's going to have to come down pit lane another time. So now Welker's going to get to experience the aero push from the other side of the coin here. He led the majority of the first part of this race. 14 of the first 25 laps. 108.4. I'm not sure that that's going to get it done with how fast Thompson has been running lately.
And he's also kind of going to start hitting that wall of air from Riley Thompson. So all these guys close together. Danny Roberts, though, he's way far behind.
Yeah, Danny Roberts actually slipped, and he's lost a spot to Liam Quinn. Oh, behind him, Bommersbach bobbling on the brakes, and look who he just got by, Finian. This is an important pass. Remember, take a look at the points. 20 points separated them before this race. Look where it is now.
I'm not too surprised because Poole, also one of the drivers that waited quite a while coming to the pits. Bommersbach made his pit stop early. I think made up quite a bit of time. That's why we're seeing him ahead of Poole.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, also looking at Danny Roberts' time here in 117 last lap through, so definitely had something happen to him on the last lap.
So we talked about the undercut versus overcut thing quite a bit, but I don't think tonight it's tire wear. I think it was just where you are in traffic and getting out of the aero push, because I think that's what's been more significant. I mean, we saw Riley Thompson running his best lap 15 laps into a run, so I don't really know if it's tire wear that's the bigger issue, but just getting yourself out of traffic. So I think what Bommersbach did was pit before he got held up. I think Poole ran in traffic a little bit longer, which is why he lost so much time. But now this is the championship battle between the 6th and 7th place cars. And if Bommersbach can finish ahead of John Poole, he'll put himself on pretty much level playing ground heading into the final race of the season. This is all going on about 17 seconds behind leader Byron Daly, who has now led 5 laps. And he's got the 2nd quickest lap time of anybody tonight.
Got the guy who ran the quickest lap time in behind him. The only driver to get under, one of only 2 drivers to get under minute 8. The other being Danny Roberts. Riley Thompson is that driver I was talking about.
Cohen Evans, I think, is had an issue.
Yeah.
17
it's
car.
Not been his night.
Yeah, here's a look. This is coming onto the front straightaway. We've seen a bunch of drivers make the same mistake tonight on the brakes, throttles up, and just doesn't have the car quite gripped up. I think he might have, that turf isn't very grippy out there.
Yeah, it was the same thing that Liam Quinn did, essentially. Or sorry, not Liam Quinn, Liam Sheen.
Yep. So now that Welker is in third, looks like he's going to be stuck here. That's what I'm guesstimating so far.
I think he's probably going to be stuck here until the next cycle of pit stops. I think that'll be his best opportunity to try to, pull a strategy card and try to get ahead of these guys.
Halfway point in this race, Byron Daly has the track position. If you recall back last season, it was at Barber Motorsport Park where Byron Daly got one of his road course wins. Not a whole lot of similarities between those tracks. I think the only thing I would say is similar between Barber and this is that there's a lot of high load corners, especially with the banking that they have in some of those corners, especially, which I think is a little bit similar to the WeatherTech race with Laguna Seca. Although otherwise, Barber's very flowing, fast circuit, and Laguna Seca has kind of point and shoot style a little bit.
Got a lap car for these guys.
It looks like that
Rodrigo Munoz.
It is Rodrigo Munoz in the 0-9, and he started his night in 7th, but hasn't really had the pace to improve his position. The leader behind him, it forced Daly to make a little bit of a mistake, and that has brought Thompson in a bit closer. Liam Quinn is crashed in the corkscrew.
I actually didn't hit anything. Did go for a spin, though.
He did hit the wall, I believe. I might have just caught it with something other than the wing. See the left front locked up, came down the hill, and loads it up, and oh no, he didn't hit the wall, he just dragged the floor on the ground. So Quinn's going to lose some track position. Back up front, 0.3 of a second. This is the closest we've seen the leaders in quite some time.
Thompson potentially looking for a pass on Daly. I think he feels he has enough pace to get around the 0-6 car.
Well, I would leave a little bit of space here through turn 6. This is, again, one of the high-load corners. You'll lose time if you follow too closely. See, big wash there.
Catching a little bit of sand on exit, but all good forward 56.
See Daly lock up that left front, kind of carry it. That's really one of the challenges of the corkscrew as well, is the track falls away from you. So as you crest the hill, if you've got the brakes still on, if some drivers try to trail brake into the corner, it'll lock up that left front tire. So when you land, that tire's locked, and it really throws the balance of the car off quite a bit, as well as all the weight transfer basically dropping you out of the sky. So it's a tricky corner, not just because it's blind, but because of the drop and because of how the physics work. It's gravity. You're falling, essentially, through there. Thompson's been really good through turns 1 and 2 tonight. I think it's really his best spot on the racetrack. This would be very frustrating for Welker if he were to run third tonight within eye shot of the leader. Brakes glowing on the left front of that car, pushing. But maybe knowing that the pit stops, as you said earlier, are the best way to make a pass.
Actually, I think that's a floor damage.
On the left side or the right side?
On the floor. You see that, right? Like little crinkles?
Yeah, on the right. Well, we know the left side's probably from the curb strike that he had earlier in turn 6. The right side also has a little bit. I'm trying to think of where you could get that.
I don't know. Let's look at the other cars for a comparison just to make sure we're not losing our mind.
Oh, no, we're definitely not losing our mind. Byron Daly's is squeaky clean on the right. How about the left? That's generally squeaky clean there as well. Riley Thompson got a little bit of a crinkle on his left side. Remember, he had a bit of a curb strike earlier. It's turn 6, I'm telling you. That's the danger spot, really, where these cars get caught out.
It can't fix the floor.
No.
So without completed racing, that can't replace that.
It's an entire car if you break the floor, and it's a write-off if you break that. And Thompson's got a little bit of damage on it, but Mitch Welker definitely has more significant bends. Yeah, that left side's torn up. And that's a very important part of this race car for making downforce. These IR18s, they took away the massive wings that they had in the old road course package and incorporated a lot of the downforce into the floor and underbody of this race car. So if you break that or damage it in any way, you're going to be suffering quite a bit of performance. And he hasn't really dropped off a whole lot in overall speed, but I can't. It's not helping him.
Yeah. He just drops an air connection, comes back there.
Into the corkscrew yet again, closing in on 20 laps to go. Daly drops down the hill. Oh, you see Byron Daly there? He almost wiped out. Here's a look. As he came across, probably went back a little bit too far here, but just keep an eye on the back of this 06 car as he comes over the edge of the curb on corner exit. And he enters the corner exactly how you should. You see Riley Thompson off in the dirt in the background, but watch the mistake the 06 makes on exit right here. I think he's going to drag the left rear right off the edge, and ooh, you see how the car jerked back to the right? That could have been real bad.
Did a good job keeping the car going in a straight line.
Thompson lost some ground in the first sector here. Welker's caught up just a touch.
Yeah, in front of these guys, it's a 14-second gap all the way back to Danny Roberts sitting in fourth.
And no other significant battles to mention right now. Kai Bommersbach still leads over John Poole by 0.8 of a second, but no real chance of a pass yet there. Cresting the hill into the corkscrew yet again. The leader's been a troublesome spot to be tonight. We've seen drivers curb strike, we've seen drivers spin, get caught up with lap traffic. But Myron Daly's the only driver that hasn't had a significant mistake yet tonight. He's just so consistent. He's not blowing anybody out of the water with speed, but he just hasn't made any mistakes, and sometimes that's what it takes to win one of these things.
I was going to say you might want to bite your tongue there. I went a little bit wide in the last quarter, and we saw a lot of drivers wipe out there. Was able to accelerate without spinning out.
We've only really seen one driver spin out there because they got up on the turf, though. A lot of times it's just been wheel spin that's been the trouble. Front three still nose to tail, and I think there is probably some frustration brewing, especially for Welker, how challenging it is to make ground. This is the same issue we had at Gateway, and it's just a fundamental problem with cars that go this fast.
Yeah.
Because to make them go this fast, you have to have downforce. Downforce is going to create some form of dirty air.
And that's really the interesting thing too. Just looking to the future of racing. I think for pretty much the next decade. I think really this decade in motorsports has been defined by dirty air in some way, shape, or form. In every form of motorsports, for making cars go as fast as they are now. Aerodynamicists are too smart now, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the thing is when you're designing a race car, you're not worried about the driver behind you. You just care about your car's performance.
If anything, you want them to be slower behind.
Well, exactly, and that's a consideration when this car was designed. Well, car off, I think that's Hurley again.
Yeah.
That was a consideration when this car was designed to reduce downforce for that very reason. Now, they have made it better, but it still doesn't mean it's great.
Yeah, and really the cars that are going to come out in the next decade across the IndyCar, Formula One, almost everything under the sun, is going to pretty much throw all the aero work underneath the car. So we're going to see a large amount of ground effect cars. That'll be really interesting to see how that affects the race.
So the fundamental difference between ground effect and using the rear wing is the ground effects don't create nearly as much dirty air. They still do, because that's just how air works.
Yeah.
But so imagine downforce as air going over the car, pushing the car into the racetrack. All that dirty air is on top of the car, and it gets blown directly back in the car behind you. Ground effects is sucking the car down to the ground, so you don't get that massive wake out from behind. You still get a low-pressure zone behind the race car just because of the hole it's punching through the air, but you're not making it super turbulent like you would before. As we say that, Riley Thompson has found a way to burst through that bubble and got a little bit closer that time.
Yeah, got a little bit closer. You're going to probably see him expand out just a little bit here. This is a really high downforce section in these cars.
A little wide there in 10.
You can see him struggling.
That's really the purpose of diffusers, is to kind of channel that air out in a more reasonable way. And
Some would say
downforce.
diffuse the air.
Well, yes. Streamlines it, makes it better for the cars behind. It also provides a little bit of downforce as well. So, and that's one of the things the Gen 7 NASCAR Cup car will have, which I think is a trend in the right direction as long as it doesn't break off the second someone Brad Keselowski's you. So, front three still very much together, and I think that's Rodrigo Munoz up the road, about to go another lap down. That might be Valenzuela. Yes, it is. Team car. There's your top three.
Curious in seeing. Here's the thing too, is that these guys, they're all so fast. Unfortunately, neither one's really fast enough to make a pass.
Well, they're all
on
very.
The track.
And that's the other thing. It's not helping that these guys, the skill level is so close. I mean, not only is there the aero wash issue, but you're all dealing with drivers that are very similar skill. What about push to pass though? We haven't talked about that. How can they use that in the next 22 laps?
Yeah, really. I mean, really, you can use it anywhere. Ideally, you want to use it coming down here out of the last corner, and coming out onto this straightaway. You want to hit the button right about now, as you get onto the gas, and you have deployment all the way down the straightaway until you hit the brakes. Gives you about, I think, 20, 30 extra horsepower, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember.
A significant boost.
Yeah.
But again, if everyone's using the button, it doesn't help you a whole lot.
Yeah. And also, we have absolutely no clue how many uses they have left.
I asked about that on the forums, and I did not get a response, and I was very upset.
Yeah, I don't know. They really should give us access to that. It's just kind of annoying.
Yeah. I would love to make a little display that counts down. That'd be so cool. Maybe I'll email David Tucker. I'll ping him. Where are you at?
Well, yeah, you should ask them to change it to seconds.
Well, I
instead of
told him. I
uses,
said, "Why is it the old way too?" And there's like 1,000 views on every thread in that forum, and then mine that's about something that's actually relevant, 25 views. I was like, "Come on!" I was like, "Who doesn't care about this?" You know? I don't even know why it made Why do they never bother to make it right? It's not like it'd be that difficult.
It really wouldn't. It really wouldn't at all. I doubt it's too hard because they have.
I think the old way is more complicated to code than the current way. I don't know. They put a lot of effort in the R18 and then completely skimped on the push-to-pass system, and I don't know why. Maybe they figured nobody cared about it because most people that run this car run ovals. But,
I mean,
considering iRacing's commitment to realism,
and
it's a
also
little bit
considering that series in real life runs mostly road course.
Also, can I complain for 1 second about the bottom right-hand corner of the screen?
Oh yeah.
I discovered a thing that I could do that would get rid of that iRacing watermark, and that was patched out in the most recent build. Why? I hate you, iRacing, for that very. I'm so angry. It's bothering me every moment, and no one watching noticed it until I just said that. Now it's going to bother them too. But I'm not willing to crop out your picture because I feel like if you're going to watch this race, you deserve to see 100% of the frame, and I will show you 100% of the frame, and that's what you have here tonight. Going to be 20 laps to go next time by, and it looks like Rodrigo Munoz has come into pit road. And again, maybe starting our last pit stop run here to the end. Again, this race just shy of 60 laps, so pitting every 20 laps makes sense. And Munoz was the first one to come dip down. What up for Welker? I'd say pit now.
Yeah, I was actually thinking he was coming about now. He went 20 laps on the first run. On this run, he's gone about 17, so I guess he could stretch it a little bit more, but we'll see what he's got strategy-wise to try to get around these two, because I doubt he's going to really be able to do it on the track.
20 laps to go here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for the 13th round of the season in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. Remember, if you're watching now, don't leave at the end of this race, because after the interviews, we'll be releasing the 2020 Fuel Premier Series schedule. And so don't leave after those interviews, like I said. Stick around.
Not sure if Danny Roberts is coming for a second stop or not. He's dropped back into 8th place.
Roberts, this has not been going the right way for him.
I'm not sure if he's made his second stop yet.
Let's take a look. Has he made a second stop? It looks like
yes. Okay.
He has, so yeah.
So has Larkamp and Munoz. Still waiting on majority of the field left to come down for their final stop of the day.
I'm just so surprised when the second or third place car isn't bailing out of line. I mean, they're only losing time. Although I will say Byron Daly just ran his fastest lap of the race, so 108.046, so he's still making time.
I'm just surprised that Thompson doesn't decide to do so, because we definitely know he's got the pace, doesn't have the clean air. Unless he's waiting for Daly to bite first, so I don't know.
There's no risk in pitting early. It's not like you're going to get a caution out. I don't really think, you're only going to hurt yourself by staying out longer. I mean, if you're Byron Daly, absolutely stay out. I mean, you've got control over this right now. You're slowing the guys down behind you. You just ran quicker than everybody else, with the exception of Riley Thompson, who just ran 100th off his best time of the night. So Thompson's still making time. Mitch Welker also ran pretty quick, although it wasn't a legal lap time. It was a 108.035, which would be the second fastest lap of the race had he stayed on course.
It's actually caught up significantly close to Riley Thompson. Has a little bit of a look through the corkscrew, but the opportunity was not there. So he's definitely making up some time on Thompson. Thompson falling back 1.2 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, they have lost a lot of time to Daly these past couple laps, and I'm not really sure how much of it is Thompson, because Thompson just ran faster than Daly the previous lap, but this time, I don't know if Daly just ran a record-breaking time or if Thompson was a bit slow. Turns out Thompson was slow, 0.4 of a second slower. Ooh, Welker, took a look, and I don't know, Finney, I'm still on board with Welker coming in now. I don't know, battling is just going to slow you down and put Daly farther and farther in the distance. Daly's loving this in the mirror. He hopes these guys stay behind him.
There's a little bit of a wheel off of turn 4.
And Daly has no incentive to pit early. He can just do pretty much whatever he wants and control this race.
He's done a really good job stirring up the wick here a little bit in the later part of this run, trying to break away from the 56.
And he's doing just that. Still has a 1 second advantage. Some lap cars up the road. These are going to be fairly tricky ones to get by. Cohen Evans and I believe that's Rodrigo Munoz, and they are only 1 lap down, and this is a battle for a top 10 position, so they're not going to just pull over and let the leaders by, I don't think. Top 3 will all stay out.
It's going to get really tricky and a little bit dicey here for the leaders.
17 laps to go for Byron Daly. He has led 19 laps tonight, which is the most of anybody. The next closest is Welker with 14 laps led. It's a long ways back to 4th place, 17.5 seconds to Kite Bommersbach. And Kite, again, a slow start to the night, slowly crept his way forward, but here he is inside the top 5, and he will have a 4-point close on John Poole right now. So I'm really liking how he's been running. And again, it'd be nice if he could get a couple more spots to kind of pad that change in points position, but he can go into the final race with a realistic shot of winning the championship by outperforming Poole next week.
And I think really that's just the key thing. At least he closes the gap this week, because obviously again you can't really necessarily tie. But the way this point system is, at least, so you're either going to lose points, you're going to gain points. And Welker, smart decision for him.
I love this call.
As these guys are catching lap traffic, came into the pits.
Lap traffic, and he's just losing time behind these guys, plain and simple. And you see Byron Daly trying to get around some lap traffic, and he's going to dive to the inside, and that is Rodrigo Munoz. And I think Cohen Evans has...
Oh, Riley Thompson also dove in, but Munoz moved out of the way. That could have been close.
I think Thompson doesn't have time to wait. So Welker is coming into his box and is serving his final stop of the night with 16 laps to go.
He got really close to the left side.
He's able to change all the tires, waiting on fuel, and he's out and away. And that stop was 8.6 seconds. It was a really good stop. We'll see if Daly and or Thompson can match that. There's a 1 second difference between these two cars right now.
See if anyone bites on the opportunity to come down into the pits.
I'm Thompson. I hit pit lane right now. I mean, there's no point in sitting behind in the air watch. But again, every time I say that, Thompson's still running some of the best times on the racetrack. But you know what just happened? Kite Bommersbach just ran a 107.8. So he's now run the second quickest lap time of anybody. Too bad he's 17 seconds back. No realistic shot to win this race. Thompson stays out again, chasing Daly. Maybe he just wants to stay with them, but you're doing what Byron Daly's doing. You're never going to beat him. I think that's the issue right now.
And then also he's not going to worry about Welker, because Welker is, I think, pretty much out in clean air by himself.
I think he is by himself. At least only cars in front of him are... Liam Quinn is for position, but I think Welker's got a big enough speed difference that it really shouldn't be a huge deal. But there's still a lot of clean track up ahead.
I imagine Quinn's probably not going to give him too rough a time, because Quinn still has to make his other stop. So, not to see how this plays out.
Last pit stops for the leaders, almost 20 laps to go. Welker easily the first one out on fresh Firestones. Less than 15 laps to go, now 14 this time by. It's about 16 minutes worth of racing. And Thompson is all over the back of Daly, maybe trying to force him into a mistake potentially, but Byron Daly is like trying to bullfight a block of steel. He's not going to make a mistake unless you absolutely force his hand. And that here he goes, Daly pits, and also that analogy made absolutely no sense. So
roll with it. But Thompson, I think that at least if he didn't come in with Daly, I think staying out is smart.
Yeah, don't do what he does. I'm glad he's trying to overcut now, which I don't know how that's going to work, but following Daly down would have been a death sentence. It would not have worked.
Here comes Daly in for his final stop of the day.
Wheel spinning on that car. Now, the only thing that Thompson could do is go longer and have to fuel less. But I don't know how... Oh, an 8.2 second stop. That was quicker than Welker's. And where is Mitch Welker? Probably approaching quite quickly. Oh, this is going to be... I think Welker's going to have Daly this time. Maybe. It's going to be close.
It's going to be very close indeed. Here comes Welker deep in the brakes. You can see Daly right ahead of him.
Oh, I think Daly's going to have him. Yes. And Mitch Welker might be seeing his win slip away if he can't get by Byron Daly very quickly. It's about a 1 second gap. Again, he gained time, but I think he could have gained more if he'd done this a few laps earlier. And you think about that, hindsight might be 20/20, but he seems to know what he's doing. So that decision has been made, and he's made his bed. Now he's got to lay in it. Thompson stays out again. I think he's going to go for take less fuel approach here, because he has not slowed down over the course of a run. He's been one of the most consistent people out here. I like this call for Riley Thompson.
And also ran a 107.9.
Yeah.
He's running sub 118s consistently now, which is, again, what I think he needed to do, just get out in some clean air and put some fast times down. And in comparison, as Welker and Daly make it back to the line here, just seeing what they've ran, at least what Welker's ran.
Yeah, Welker is really going to be the question mark here. 108.1.
Yeah, so slightly slower.
And now he's got Daly in front of him again, so he's not going to be able to gain anything, really, with that 0.6 there. 12 laps to go, next time by for Riley Thompson. So we got 3 different drivers on 3 totally different strategies. Undercut, kind of the middle ground, and an overcut.
And some cloud covers come over Laguna Seca.
Yeah, it's cooled the track down quite a bit, about 15 degrees since we started the night. And that's probably also helping with keeping the lap times consistent over the course of the run as the track cools.
Another 107.9 for Riley Thompson.
He's flying right now. Welker's driving perfectly, just it's difficult to do anything behind a car. Oh, big understeer through turn 11. That's going to hurt him big time.
103.3s for both of these guys.
108.3s for both those cars.
So running 4/10 slower than Riley Thompson.
Yeah, Thompson is flying, and this might just work just because I think Riley Thompson all night has been faster than everybody else. I think he has had the fastest car. He's run the quickest lap of anybody. So I don't see... yes, that is correct. I was trying to see if anybody... Oh, no, he did get beat. Danny Roberts beat him with a 107.862, and that was relatively recently as well.
Yeah, like 0.006 of a second.
Yeah. So Thompson, again, I think he's been the fastest, the most consistent. I think the track position was what hurt him earlier. I think he'd be a very deserving winner of this race tonight. Of course, Welker went out.
107.893. Yeah. He's running within thousandths of his best time the last 3 laps.
Yeah, and he's just rock solid out front right now. No mistakes. Other than a bit of a slip and slide he had earlier in the night, it's been perfection from there on out. For Byron Daly and Mitch Welker, though, they're losing time, and that time is going to be very valuable because also Riley Thompson can have a shorter pit stop than these guys. Working around lap traffic goes the second and third place cars. No other battles to speak of right now. When will Thompson hit pit lane? Sounds like a jet engine coming up on the top of that hill.
I noticed that too.
And it did that last night as well with the MX-5s and the TCRs.
Interesting.
I think it's track related more than anything. It's gotten dark out here. Take a look from up above. Clouds have come over. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and Thompson is going to skip out on the pits yet again. It's going to be gutsy. He's going to pop out. It's going to be tight. Remember, he was behind Byron Daly before.
Yeah, I mean, those guys ran 18.6 and 18.5 respectively last time, so they're really starting to fall off a bit here. You can see how this lap is in comparison.
The last time you said they ran a 103.8. This time you said they ran a 118.5. 108 is what they're running.
Sorry.
103 and then 118. I was like, man, where are we going?
Sorry, my brain's not working at all.
Neither is mine. It's fine.
Finals week for us.
No, bad. Put that in the swear jar. Thompson, a 108.1, still running pretty quick lap times. 10 laps to go for the leader. Climbs up over the hill. Sounds like a Blue Angel coming up over the crest. Continuing to put distance on second and third place Daly and Welker. Now, it all comes down to the pit stop, though, because you can bork this, you can speed on pit lane, you can make a mistake. It's not over yet. He might be gapping him. Here he comes into pit lane. Flawless pit entry. And now here, we're gonna on the left-hand side of the screen, what we're going to do here is I'm going to put followed entity and I'm going to put Byron Daly. So what you're going to see now on the bottom left is the track position of the 56 of Riley Thompson and where the 06 of Byron Daly is.
And you should see the 56 of Thompson pull out to the lead.
Yeah, this if all goes to plan, Riley Thompson should easily have this.
Yeah, there he goes. Jack Strop out on the way, clearing pit road entry. Or exit, sorry.
And, oh, it's going to be no contest here. Thompson's going to have a huge lead on Daly and Welker. As they come over the top of the crest, Thompson was second before the pit stops. He's going to come out easily in front. Almost a 5-second gap over second place Daly and Welker. What a phenomenal strategy call.
Yeah, what a solid job there. Both gaining that time from just pace and also having to take less fuel.
That was spectacular. What was the pit stop? 6.1 seconds. So that 2 seconds on pit lane could have been the difference here, Finian. 8 laps to go next time by, and Thompson has the lead, and it's almost a foregone conclusion as long as he doesn't make a mistake.
He's got a gap to play with a little bit. Obviously, shouldn't completely rest on his laurels. If anything, he should be able to just continue where he left off, putting in really solid lap times.
On the brakes again, Welker following Daly through the corner. I think Welker's quicker than Daly. I think Thompson's quicker than Daly as well. But Welker didn't play the strategy quite right. I just don't think the undercut, there wasn't enough tire fall off for it really to matter. I thought it would have been a bigger deal with all that air wash he was experiencing, but it doesn't really seem to have made that big of an effect.
Yeah, Welker trying to get up to Daly, lost time in the final corner. It looked like he was close enough to make a pass, but he's going to drop all the way back and have to do it again.
Brakes glowing on that one car, I think, realizing that this is slipping away. Again, he led the first 14 laps of that, but hasn't seen the lead since lap 15.
Looking a little bit further back behind these guys for 4th and 5th place, Bommersbach and Poole yet again. Gaps closed down to about 2 seconds between these guys, but still Bommersbach with the advantage.
I think Bommersbach's going to feel like maybe he should have closed a little bit more this week because it's going to make his life a bit harder next time, but at least he's gaining on Poole. Wasn't looking like that was going to be the case early in the race.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't really think he could have done much better than 4th place. I mean, look at the guys ahead of him, I really don't think he could have competed.
I guess you could have predicted that. That was about as good as he was going to do with how strong the field was.
If anything, you had to hope that Poole would have a little bit more bad luck happen to him, but still, again, beat him on the track.
7 laps to go this time for Riley Thompson. He has 1 win to his name this season. It came a few weeks ago at Villeneuve in Canada. And that was another race where Mitch Welker, the strategy didn't quite play out for him. This all came back to when Welker got that front wing damage and kind of forced his hand to pit lane and kind of forced him off the strategy. I'm sure he was planning something different. Because when you're in the lead, you run the race totally differently. And because of the way that panned out, Welker is not leading this race. He's back stuck in 3rd.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to take as little fuel as possible. I think he was going to try to stretch it out like the rest of these guys. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do so, and that's cost him back. He's going to be stuck in 3rd unless he can get past Daly.
Make sure you stick around to the end of this race post-interviews. Because after we do the interviews, we'll be releasing the 2020 Fuel Premier schedule. As Mitchell Welker really putting the pressure on Thompson through the corkscrew. And not able to get the nose to the inside. Sun's back out here and might see the track temp start to climb back up. It's hit a low of 99 degrees, but with only a couple laps left, I'm not sure it'll really make a huge difference.
Oh, Welker's pretty close out of the final corner here. He's got to push past left. He can use it.
Big run on the front straight. Where's he going to go with it? Down to the inside. Takes a look. And Daly slams the door into turn 1.
I think he was trying to scare Daly out of it.
Oh, a little wide into 3. He almost slipped. Trying to arc that entry a bit more. Thompson has lost a little bit of ground to these drivers, but I don't really think there's any risk. As long as he doesn't get himself tangled up with some lap cars, he'll be just fine tonight. Easier said than done, though. We saw Stephen Larkamp kind of have a bit of an issue with a lapper earlier in the race. Nothing that Hurley did wrong, just speed differential in a bad part of the racetrack. See Rodrigo Munoz pulling out of the way, and 2nd and 3rd place coming over the crest.
It was Roberts.
What?
Roberts. For what happened earlier.
Oh, was it? That's right. I thought it was Larkamp, but I guess you're right. Roberts was the leader. So, 2nd and 3rd place, Welker's close again. I just don't... How much push to pass does he have left, and can he use it?
I would love to know, iRacing.
I think he definitely used some last lap. Look at the brakes glowing on these cars, how much they're putting pressure on those front rotors.
And I would bet money that they're pretty much only using it on the front straight. It's the longest straightaway. It's not really
You could use it after turn 6 into the uphill if you get a good run, but that passing opportunity is a little scarier, so that'd be a risky place to do it. They are closing on Riley Thompson. Did Thompson not take tires potentially?
That's what I was thinking, because usually it's about 7 seconds with the tires, or 6. So
I still don't think they're catching him quick enough. It's still a 2.7-second gap with only 4 laps to go next time by, but they have made quite a bit of ground up on the 56. So my guess is that there might not have been tires involved with the 56's pit stop. Some lap traffic to dispose of here for Daly and Welker.
Whoa.
A little slow on exit for the 09. Munoz will
that
move
could have
over.
been Welker's chance here. That slowed the 06 on exit.
Yeah, Welker's been a bit better on Daly in the braking zone, but just not close enough. That would have been a big lunge. Much better through the center of the corner, though, and loses some of it off. Look how good Daly gets off the corner, though. Just throttles up and just drives away.
And a half laps to go for the leaders.
Yeah.
Trying to chase down Riley Thompson.
Thompson has just been... He's been run this race perfectly. I mean, from a strategy standpoint, he got kind of put back on the hind leg earlier with the wing damage, but he just figured out exactly what Daly was going to do and beat him at it, and beat Welker as well. And unlike Montreal, where the leaders kind of took themselves out of contention, Riley Thompson has driven his way into the lead here tonight.
Yeah, he's without a doubt been one of the fastest cars. Actually, he is the fastest car, I think.
Yeah, and I think Thompson might have gotten held up. I don't know if it was a tire-related issue, because last time by he ran a 107.9. So we'll see if... Oh, no, behind him!
Oh, Daly spinning on the front straightaway with only 3 laps to go.
That was a huge mistake. He'll still have third here. But with 3 to go, Daly makes a huge... The only mistake that he made all night long.
Tragic.
That is frustrating. Same thing I think we've seen. He's going to throttle up and on the curb and tank slapper. Welker snuck on by.
Yeah, Welker got lucky there. Daly almost went back into him.
Good catch. It could have been a lot worse. Got a little greedy on the throttle. Fought it hard, but couldn't grab it. Spun back around. So Daly is out of the hunt now for that lead. Now Welker's got some clear track in front of him. Guess what he just ran, Finian?
He just clobbered the curb pushing.
That's it. That's over. I was just about to say that Mitch Welker ran his fastest and the fastest lap of the race, which was a 107.591, 118.1 miles an hour, but that left front wing is destroyed.
Yeah. I don't blame him for doing that, because he had to make up 3 seconds in 3 laps, so he was really just gunning it at that moment. So it's pushed a little too far.
He should be fine to finish second out here, but he's not going to have a chance to win this race unless Thompson makes a catastrophic mistake. 2 laps to go for Riley Thompson. The drivers behind him all falling apart in the closing laps here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Round 13 of the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series is about to come to its conclusion after 57 laps of racing. This is going to cost Welker at least a second a lap, probably more.
Yeah. It's a matter for him just nursing it back home.
And started on pole tonight. Led 14 laps. Ran the fastest lap of the race and then promptly destroyed that wing. I don't think he had a realistic shot of catching Riley Thompson, but at least there's the hope of it, I guess. Thompson, the strategy tonight has been flawless. And earlier in the season, he got, I don't want to say gypped, but he just didn't quite have the luck. Also, can I just say, Liam Quinn ran the fastest lap of the race, a 107.338. That was just last lap.
Ow.
That was the fastest lap by 2/10 over Mitch Welker. But Thompson, earlier in the season, wasn't quite having the luck that he needed, especially over on the Indy Elite side as well. Didn't have the luck. But at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve a few weeks ago, he snapped that streak and won a race for the first time this season. It was on a road course. And now, if he completes one more lap, he'll be a 2-time winner this season in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. And just a flawless night tonight, other than the one slide he had through turn 6. He's done everything right.
And I mean, even too, taking that slide into account, made up for it, rebounded both on pace and with a strategy call to get himself back into this race, did everything he needed to do to get himself to the front. And after that, hasn't made a mistake since.
Final time through the corkscrew. Only one more opportunity to make a mistake here. It's a 5-second lead over Mitch Welker. Down the hill. 4 corners left for the 56. It's been a heck of a season for Riley Thompson, and a few weeks ago he snapped his winless streak at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. And in another country, on another side of the continent, Riley Thompson comes on through. He's a winner in California. Riley Thompson wins round number 13 of the 2019 Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series and comes on through for the second time this season. Welker, disappointingly, second place. Byron Daly, in the closing moments of this one, spun out in turn 11.
Yeah, also going to probably be disappointed with that. Going to come home in third place, and then out of the final corner there, you can see Kai Bommersbach. He's going to finish ahead and gain points on John Poole, who'll come home in fifth. The gap's going to shrink down to about 14.
Yeah, it'll be 14 points between those two drivers next week. And, of course, Kai Bommersbach trying to steal that lead away from John Poole, who's held it for the majority of the season, getting closer and closer to crowning a champion in this series. So John Poole is on through, and I think with that, that is Cristobal Valenzuela, who's the last driver running on the racetrack, which should be the end. Yes, it is. So here's a look at your race results. And for Riley Thompson, two-time winner. 7 lead changes out up front, most of those under pit stop rotations. Don't go anywhere, though. We're not done yet. We're going to talk to Riley Thompson and a few more drivers, and then we're going to show you the 2020 Fuel Premier Series schedule. So stick around for just a couple more minutes. Of course, for Brent Jones, Evan Adams, Liam Sheen, the race ended quite early tonight. Celebration for the 56. Oh, now you can damage it. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back live to SimTV in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. And we're here now with our third place finisher, Byron Daly, in the 06 Home Depot car. Byron, tonight had a shot to win this thing. Strategy didn't quite work out in your favor, and a spin in the closing laps kind of relegated you back to third. Happy with tonight, or wish things would have gone a little bit better?
You know what? I'm a little bit happy with tonight, but at the same time, it's like that was a little disappointing to do what I did there at the end. I just played it too safe on fuel strategy and cost myself the lead there. But from where I started in practice to where I raced was definitely an improvement, so that's something to be happy.
Road courses this season have been quite good for you. Does it feel like a missed opportunity here tonight, or are you going to head on to the next oval race and just try to get another victory before the season's out?
Honestly, I almost feel like it's a missed opportunity. I thought the way the race played out there, I thought maybe I had a chance at it. I came in there for practice and I was like a second off the pace, or two. Sorry, 2 seconds off the pace, and it's like, oh, this is not good. Went into qualifying and didn't really do much better, but kind of following Danny there to start the race kind of showed me what I was doing wrong, and pit stops and all that stuff later. We're leading the race. I thought, man, we have a shot at it, and I just kind of threw it away there.
Byron Daly comes home third tonight. Byron, still a podium finish, so keep your head up, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Moving on now to second place, Mitchell Welker. And again, I think we've been waiting for a long time to talk to Mitchell in victory lane. And tonight, Mitch started off real strong, led 14 of the first 15 laps, came on down pit lane early to kind of fix that wing. Did that curb strike change your strategy? And do you think things would have gone differently had you not had that issue happen there?
Yeah, for sure changed the strategy, but I would have covered just fine. But obviously after the stop, I did a spinala and that kink up the hill there, and the car never got loose there again. So, of course, caught up by a little gremlin in the IndyCar, but yeah, it would have been fine. I think the strategy allowed me to undercut, or would have allowed me to undercut, and then as I caught up to them on the fresher tires, the fuel would also drain off, and I would have been faster as well there while they ran their tires out.
This season has had its ups and downs for you, and obviously not getting to victory lane is going to kind of sting, but are there positives to take away from this season, and do you expect to come back stronger next time?
For sure. I'm more than happy to be talking to you right now as a driver rather than a pundit in the booth. Yeah, I'll take a second here. I know what I need to work on. I'll be working really hard over the winter break, and I'll be strong for 20A.
All right, Mitch Welker, second place tonight in the number 1 Air Canada car. Mitch, thanks for talking. We'll see you next time.
No problem.
And last but certainly not least, Riley Thompson in the 56. Your second victory this season after winning at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve a couple weeks ago. You were absolutely killing it tonight with lap time. Got kind of shuffled out of the lead for a bit on strategy, but at the end, an incredible strategy call puts you back out front. Walk us through your night and taking the lead away from Byron Daly.
Yeah, a track like this, it's more of just trying to be consistent. Gotta avoid those sausage curbs, most and foremost. So once I spun however many laps in, I realized I was out of the dirty air and I was able to go a bit faster. So luckily, I was going to do the same kind of strategy like Mitchell did, where it was going to be pit twice, take tires both times. But once I was on my own, I just decided to go the whole way on fuel and just take tires once. And I think it paid off in the end with all the clean air.
A lot of discussion about dirty air tonight and getting stuck behind other drivers. Where did you feel like that was worse tonight? And were there corners where it didn't feel quite so bad?
I think it's about that 7/10 bubble. The worst corner was probably the one where you go under like that Mother's Bridge. Besides that, into the low speed corners, it didn't seem too bad, and you were able to catch up a little bit.
Riley Thompson, victorious second time this season. Congratulations, another road course victory for the 56 TDR team. Riley, congrats, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. All right, well, hey, we're not done quite yet. Let's take one more look at the results. We're going to head straight into the schedule reveal for the 2020 Fuel Premier Series. One last look here, Finian. Any surprises on this list? To me, it seems pretty straightforward. I think Larkamp and Danny Roberts may be a bit disappointed with the 7th and 8th for them tonight.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit uncharacteristically down the order. Of course, both of them ran into some problems, especially Danny Roberts. You saw him go for a loop, and that made him lose quite a bit of time. And I think had some other troubles at some point to move him further back. So unfortunately, wasn't able to finish. So although he was pretty much the 4th contender in the running for this win, just wasn't able to seal the deal.
All right, so there is your results for round number 13. We'll be back with you again next week at 9 p.m. on Thursday, but we're about to reveal the 2020 Fuel Premier Series schedule, and it will be right here on SimTV on Tuesday nights in 2020. Let's take a look at what we got coming up next season. So, one of the big changes, Finian, is that next season we'll be utilizing the Xfinity Series, the Class B car, rather than the Class A car. Your thoughts before we get into the schedule on that decision?
Much better.
Yeah,
I think yeah. Honestly, after seeing 3 different Cup Series race this car, I think NASCAR took a step back with this package in general. At some places, it's improved the super speedway racing, road course and short track racing. They've been pretty good, and not really much of a change there. They've always been fairly good races, but it's absolutely killed the intermediate racetracks and made the races kind of boring. And really relatively uninteresting to a racer. So yeah, I'm glad to see these cars really put the driver back in control of the car and being able to run it out and not have to deal with air wash.
So the 2020 Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series schedule is as follows. On February 11th, the season opener at Daytona International Speedway, the Daytona 250, 60 laps around the 2.5-mile super speedway, the World Center of Racing, before we head into our week number 2.
Yeah, week number 2, February 18th, we're going to be heading to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Dice Roll 175. Gotta ask Will, too, if he's going to put that at night, and even for the Cup race, too.
The Cup race is going to be day to night.
Okay.
So that will be the first time that, of course, Las Vegas just getting night most recently in the build. On February 25th, it's week number 3 from Rockingham Speedway. The Rock, that track is always a spectacular show for the OK Boomer 150. It's 148 laps around the Rock for week 3.
Yeah, and moving on, we got an off week, and then after that, off week for the build. And after that, we go to Southern National for the Southern Hibachi 200 on March 10th.
On March 17th, it'll be a to-be-decided road course. I think the tracks in discussion right now are Lime Rock Park and Road Atlanta. I'm pushing for Road Atlanta. I think other drivers kind of pushing for Lime Rock. Either way, it's going to be a good show to watch, but that'll be on March 17th.
And after that, we head to Homestead, Miami on March 31st for the Florida Man.
I think you missed one. I think we missed Pocono.
Oh. See, Pocono's very forgettable.
Oof.
Yeah,
man.
so we on March 24th, they had a Pocono race. We have the Poke Pro 175 for 70 laps.
On March 31st, then we head to Homestead Miami Speedway for the Florida Man 175. There'll be 117 laps from what was typically the season finale. Of course, moved up in the season in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series as it has been in the real world.
And then after that, we head on April 7th to Martinsville Speedway for the Corn Dog 175 for 200 laps.
April 14th will be an off break for April break. On April 21st, or a day before my birthday, we will head to Talladega Super Speedway, the Alabama 250. It'll be a 94-lap race to see the number 5 tacked on that. That's a little bit of a dash for cash deal that we'll explain when the season rolls around back in February.
After that, on April 28th, we head to Cal's favorite place in the world, Watkins Glen International for the R/Racetrack Designs 200 for 52 laps.
May 5th, Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Slippery Slidey Banks in Georgia. That'll be the Slow Car 200, 130 laps around what used to be NASCAR's finale racetrack.
And then going on to May 5th, we head to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Slow Car 200.
I just read that.
Huh?
Already read that one.
Oh, what? Oh.
Yep. You did Watkins Glen. I did Atlanta.
I'm losing my mind.
Yes,
here.
you are.
Then we head to Clemson Powder 200 for 200 laps at Richmond Raceway.
May 19th, it'll be the third Fuel World 400, 167 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Another, I don't even know what they're calling it, but another dash for cash little deal there on May 19th.
I believe also the white text is indicating that's going to be the chase,
Yes.
Fuel Finals as they call it. And for the second round of that, on May 26th, we head to Auto Club Speedway for the Blazer 200 for 100 laps.
June build on June 2nd. That'll be another off week here. The third and final off week before June 9th, which will be ISM Raceway for the Cactus Classic 250. 153 laps at the 1 mile track.
And rounding out our season on June 16th, it'll be Chicagoland Speedway for the Chips iDrops 200 for 134 laps.
I don't know where they got that name from, but hey, that is your 2020 Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series schedule. It'll air right here on SimTV for every single round. It'll be on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. as usual. And again, the highlights on that, of course, Southern National, that's going to be a fun one. Rockingham, of course, whatever road course ends up in that TBD spot on March 17th is going to be fun. Homestead Miami is going to be a blast as well if the NASCAR Xfinity Series finals anything to go by. Of course, Talladega is always good, and Watkins Glen, of course.
I was going to say, really everything I'm looking forward to, just for the different car.
The good thing is that with the car change, all these racetracks that we go to, we actually have never done a full Xfinity Series B car season. So this will be the first time that those cars have been featured on SimTV for that long.
And this is also to the new Xfinity car, which does drive and handle different to the old one that we're using.
So that is the summary of your schedule. We want to thank everybody for joining us tonight right here on SimTV. The next event you're going to see will be Saturday. It'll be the Outsider Racing League moving on to their next round at Pocono. So that'll be at Saturday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then Sunday, Indy Elite returns, as does the 3-Wide Racing League Nationals from Kentucky. That'll be a day-to-night race. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.